Wait, did he not know this before hiring you? What? So how does the salary differ from, big tech companies?
I mean, I would say it does pay well.
How does just a BTech undergrad, land a applied scientist role at Amazon?
BTech's के लिए one easy way in is
So if you're a CS student in India, the dream is usually the same. Grind lead code, get a job at a good farm company, and make a lot of money, right? But my friend Aryan here took a different path. He graduated from the same college, DTU, as me, but he ended up as an applied scientist at Amazon, which is a role that you don't often see people just getting after BTech. So today we're going to decode exactly how he got this offer, what his resume looked like before applying to these roles, actually how much he earns compared to a software developer, and what his day-to-day life looks like. So let's rewind to your first year at DTU. Did you always know that you wanted to get into these roles as an ML engineer or an applied scientist? When did you first start with this? What are the first internships you did? And basically the whole procedure. So let's hear it from you.
first year में तो it was mostly simple. मैं गया college and I didn't know what to do. So I was just exploring around. That's it. फिर first semester over हुआ, second semester started. That's when COVID hit. तो सब free हो गए. So that's when I started exploring different courses. So I went on Coursera. I came across this course, Introduction to ML by Andrew NG. And I just started that course. And that was my first introduction to ML. But I think that's the story with everyone in the first year. जहाँ पे machine learning के starting के लिए everybody goes on with this course. उसके बाद I reached out to a professor in my college in a research lab. And I asked him कि can I join you in your research? And he just asked me to ठीक है, you can join, you can explore some stuff with the PhDs that he had. And that was my first introduction to machine learning, like proper research introduction to machine learning. But at that point also मैंने decide नहीं किया था कि हाँ मैं ML में ही जाऊँगा. I was still exploring other fields. So I was exploring web development, I was exploring software development, I was exploring gaming also as a field. तो वो सब चीज़ चल रहा था, but side by side ठीक है. I mean, machine learning was sort of the main direction that I took in my first year. So that's how I started.
Like fast forwarding to your Amazon interview process, let's go and talk about what your resume looked like at that point of time. What all internships you had done that were relevant to that role, and how that basically got you the call, right? Yeah.
So, see, this research internship that I did in my first year, that was actually crucial. क्योंकि applied scientist के role के लिए they do look for research experience. You should have some experience. If you have papers, research papers in good conferences, that is the best thing you can have. But you should have some research exposure because this field demands some other skills. You need to be patient. You need to learn how to experiment. You need to fail quickly in order to move on. So, एक research experience होना is mandatory. I wouldn't say mandatory, but it's sort of a must-have. I mean, they will ask for it. Apart from that, I also did an internship with Scalar. Okay. So in Scalar, I was doing content development, where I was designing their courses, some of their courses, and ML courses, yes, DSML courses. And उससे मेरा knowledge बहुत बड़ा. That is where it helped me because I was deep diving into classical ML things, which you would not find industrially relevant right now. But again, those are very important because those are the things that build your basics, your math basics, your intuition of how to use algorithms and all of that, and how the field developed into something which it is today. LLMs were not the norm earlier. LLMs are a very recent development in machine learning. But machine learning बहुत पुरानी field. It's a 20 years old, 30 years old field. So what happened at that time and how we came to this point, that is actually important to learn because it gives you a perspective of what to do next. So that is where Scalar internship helped me. उसके बाद I joined another startup, Lightmetrics, जहाँ पे I was a proper machine learning engineer. So I was doing computer vision related stuff there. And that is the time when I interviewed for Amazon.
If you can just help me with the timeline of this stuff. ये first year में था, second year में था, and all that. Like Amazon वाला, when did that happen? Yeah, just add that as well.
So my first research internship was at the end of the first year. उसके बाद my Scalar internship was in my 7th semester, I think. 6th or 7th semester ऐसे ही था. And Lightmetrics was in the 8th semester. And I interviewed for Amazon also in the 7th or the 8th semester. तो वो सब overlap ही हो रहा था. But I was a part of Lightmetrics before I interviewed for Amazon.
Okay, another question that I had in my mind was that a lot of people think that ML models को use करना in उनकी practical application is just import these libraries, import TensorFlow, import sklearn and whatever, and just apply them. So is it actually like that from an interview perspective? What do they actually ask, and is the math depth required or not?
See, there are two aspects to this. पहली बात तो as an applied scientist or as an MLE or anyone going to this field, it's not just about using those algorithms. It's about building on top of those. तो जो भी models आपके पास हैं, you have to build on top of those to solve your problem. That is how it works. So for that, you need an in-depth knowledge of that model, of that algorithm, and you get that knowledge through the basics, through the maths behind it. उसके basis पे you can build on top of it, and उसके basis पे you can fine tune it, pre-train it, whatever you want to do with it. So that is one aspect. From the interview aspect, again, मैंने third year में भी Amazon के लिए interview किया था, and I couldn't crack that interview. And the one thing that I realized is they do look for a very mathematical, detailed explanation of whatever you have done. So you should know what you have done. That is all they ask, and you should know it in depth. So Amazon interviews have this concept of breadth and depth. They'll judge you on your breadth, which is do you know the basic topics, ऊपर से at least, and they'll go into depth of at least one of those topics and see कि तुम्हारा कितना knowledge है उस topic के बारे में. And it's not random. I mean, they will ask you. Most probably they will ask you कि what do you know best, what have you worked on, and उसी के basis पे they will go in depth.
Okay, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. That how does just a BTech undergrad, land a applied scientist role at Amazon or any company for that matter? How does that process look like? And I'm sure there are a bunch of prerequisites that they're looking out for.
For applied scientists, Amazon usually looks for masters and PhDs. BTech's के लिए one easy way in is Amazon's ML Summer School.
Okay.
So they do this for all the colleges, only for college students. In fact, you can be a BTech, you can be a master's, you can be a PhD, but you need to be a college student. And the way to get in is to give a simple test. It's a MCQ test only, I think. At least it was an MCQ test at my time. And uske basis pe they will select a few students, and you have this 3-day, 4-day long workshop, which you can attend virtually. And after that, they'll ask you whether you are interested in a job or an internship.
Okay.
And based on your response, they will give you another test link.
Yeah, so you mentioned that it's just a simple test, but I'm sure that not everybody gets the opportunity to write this simple test. Everybody does?
Yeah.
So you apply and you get the testing, at least for the first one, for the first test. Okay. And the second one, there must be some criteria, then you can just explain on that.
No.
Okay, for that
So there's no criteria anywhere. You have cleared the test. ठीक है, you register, you clear the test for the ML Summer School. उसके बाद they'll ask you, are you interested in an internship? You say yes, they will send you another test link. That's how it works. इधर तक there is no filtering anywhere. इसके बाद the filtering happens because you give your resumes, you give your test. Based on that, they will extend an interview. If they think that okay, this candidate is worthy or not. फिर उसके बाद the first round is normal DSA round, जो SD round होता है. They'll ask you 2-3 DSA questions. Based on that, they'll again send you to the next round. The next round is proper core machine learning round. So as I discussed, they'll ask you both breadth and depth. They'll see your resume. They'll ask you what you're good at. They'll deep dive into your projects. They'll cover different topics. And one thing is they will cover classical ML. So it's not as if you have not worked on classical ML, they won't cover it. वो पूछेंगे classical ML. And again, they might again ask you कि तुम्हें classical ML में क्या आता है? Linear regression, logistic regression, SVMs. And one tip here, मतलब what we have seen in our interviews, when we take interviews, कि candidates usually go with difficult topics here. SVMs हो गया, PCA हो गया. My suggestion is go with a simple topic. Linear regression is a very simple topic. We are ready to question you on linear regression. But अगर तुम बोल ही रहे हो कि तुम्हें decision trees पे questioning चाहिए, SVMs पे चाहिए, तो we'll ask you difficult questions on that. Go with a simple topic. We'll ask you maths behind that. We will give you different curveballs. But again, it's better to do it on a simple topic than a difficult one. ठीक है. After that, you get the internship. If again you clear that round. My internship was 6 months long. It can be 3 months long for you, depends on your preference. And I joined the RBS tech team. RBS is Retail Business Services. So in Amazon, RBS is a cost-cutting org. It's a cost-saving org for Amazon. So we analyze customer behavior, customer returns. We try to reduce those points of deflection ताकि हमारे returns कम हो, हमारे points of conflict कम हो, and that in turn saves money for Amazon. So our customers are, for us, RBS, the customers are actually selling partners or vendors because हम उनको insights देते हैं कि आपके products में ये गलतियाँ आ रही हैं या फिर इधर ज़्यादा return हो रहा है या you correct this on your detail page. So detail page is what you actually see the product page on Amazon. आपने किसी product पे click किया, you see the bullet points and the product description and anything. That all together is your detail page. So we analyze detail page. We say कि हाँ यहाँ पे ये defect है, यहाँ पे ये problem है. You correct this. You might get more customers for your product based on that. इस तरीके से we drive both the selling partner experience and the customer experience. So that's what we do in our org. तो इन माई इंटर्नशिप मेरा काम था कि जो प्रोडक्ट पेज पे जो डिटेल पेज पे क्वेश्चंस आते हैं कस्टमर्स के, पीपल आस्क क्वेश्चंस अबाउट द प्रोडक्ट, वो मैं ऑटोमेटिकली आंसर कर सकूँ. तो द वेंडर और द सेलिंग पार्टनर डजंट नीड टू कम एंड मैनुअली आंसर ईच क्वेश्चन. We'll automatically generate an answer. And उस time LLMs were not present. They were not the norm. So we had to use smaller models, like a T5 or something like that, fine tune it, and generate the answers for that question. So that was my
one basic question here. Like you said, that the models that you were building for this particular problem was like vendor specific. Like any questions posed to that particular vendor, not vendor specific, like product specific. Okay. So but that product is okay, I'm just wondering here that is this like one thing that handles all of the products, like across all of the vendors? Because different, like let's say for example, there is some guy and वो आके पूछ रहा है उस पे कि on your chat box that that maybe what is the process to return this particular product, है ना? But different vendors will have different processes for that, different email IDs for that. So is this just one model that is trained on all of this vendor data which is able to answer it, or is it like different I don't know how this works basically. So yeah.
So see, that was a long-term vision. कि एक ही मॉडल सब कुछ हैंडल कर दे, सारे क्वेश्चंस हैंडल कर दे. बट यू हैव टू स्टार्ट स्मॉल. ठीक है. सो आवर स्कोप वॉज वेरी लिमिटेड. जब डिटेल पेज पे आप जाते हो, यू सी अ सेक्शन Q&A. वहाँ पे यूजुअली द क्वेश्चंस आर अबाउट द प्रोडक्ट इट्सेल्फ, ओनली द प्रोडक्ट, दैट पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट. ठीक है. तो हमारा स्कोप था कि अगर उस प्रोडक्ट रिलेटेड कोई क्वेश्चन पूछे, प्रोडक्ट फीचर रिलेटेड, कि इसका कलर क्या है, ये दिखता कैसे, इसके डायमेंशंस क्या है, और वो इन्फॉर्मेशन ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल है, but the customer was not able to find it, as simple as that, then we'll answer it automatically based on that information. So that was the first sort of step in this whole project. Ultimately, yeah, long term vision was this कि कुछ भी question पूछे उस product के बारे में, we'll answer all the questions. But the starting point was this, and that was my internship.
Okay, so another question. Do you like sort of feel like an imposter syndrome after you entered Amazon? Because I'm sure a lot of your peers, your colleagues were people who had done their masters, PhDs, I'm sure had very good in-depth knowledge, and you coming from just a BTech background, was that a thing that you felt or not?
So you do feel that, but you get used to it. At the end of the day, when you're working with such good people, it actually adds value to your experience. But ठीक है, टाइम लगता है थोड़ा. इनफैक्ट अ फनी स्टोरी, मेरे मैनेजर को 1 साल तक लगता था कि आई एम अ मास्टर्स. तो या तो उधर ये नॉर्म है कि यू डोंट यूजुअली फाइंड बीटेक्स इन दिस रोल, बट या it's a luck by chance. I mean, depends on your team.
Wait, did he not know this before hiring you? What?
He assumed I was a master's student for some reason.
Okay, that is weird. I'm sure resume में उसको ढूंढा नहीं उसने.
He didn't observe या जो भी है.
Okay. But yeah, I guess that's probably kudos to you because you were able to explain probably in depth jitna they were looking for. And yeah. So now moving on to the next section, like what does your day-to-day life at Amazon as an applied scientist look like? What does an applied scientist even do on a random Tuesday morning? Like, are you actually writing code or are you just experimenting? You know, like, yeah, let's go through that.
So applied scientist is about both developing models and deploying them. तो Amazon में you have to work customer backwards. जो भी problem आ रही है, it is a customer problem. You have to solve that problem. Okay. ठीक है, that is one thing. Now that's what we basically do. कोई भी problem आया, our job is more design heavy. जहाँ पे हम सोचते हैं कि हाँ कौन सा technique will work and how will that technique work. Sometimes you have to take into account cost, latency, customer experience, constraints, all of that. तो उस चीज़ को factor in करके you have to find out कि हाँ this model will work, this model won't work, and all of that.
Yeah, just one question here that like for example at a company like Google, right? Let's say you're rolling out a new model and you have to decide that you know how you're going to tweak the parameters of the existing thing and maybe you know, and when you're like dealing with the scale of these companies, like I'm sure it's the same with Amazon, right? Like for maybe let's say if it's web search Google, which has like 300 billion documents to index, it's same probably 300 billion products on Amazon. Probably not that high, but maybe at least in the billions. Yeah, yeah, getting there. So yeah, like the cost. I know this from a friend who was talking to recently that the cost to just run this one experiment on this a billion data set is huge. So I'm sure like you can't just like run all these experiments and find out कि ठीक है कौन सा बढ़िया चल रहा है वो कर लो. So yeah, how does this process look like? Let's get into that as well. And how many experiments do you actually run?
This is exactly the problem that we face. We can't run an experiment on a million data set. That is not possible. We don't have the cost, we don't have the time. We have to move fast. So we have to design smaller experiments with smaller data and see how it scales up.
Okay.
Same goes with models. You can't use a billion parameter model for a small task. I mean, billion parameters is still less now. But you can't use very, very big models like Claude, GPT for everything. You have to use smaller models if you can. तो वही डिज़ाइन चॉइसेस होती हैं, वही एक्सपेरिमेंट्स होते हैं कि ये मॉडल काम करेगा क्या, अगर ये मॉडल काम नहीं कर रहा तो ये कैसे काम करेगा, उसके ऊपर तुम मे बी और लेयर्स डालो और मॉडल्स अटैच करो. मे बी यू बिल्ड एन एंटायर पाइपलाइन जहाँ पे एक मॉडल दूसरे मॉडल में फीड हो रहा है. You do some post processing, you do some pre processing. So you have to do all those experiments, and you have to do a lot of experiments. I mean, the major part of our job is experimentation, and again, majority of those experiments will fail. You have to accept that, and once an experiment succeeds, that's not the end. क्योंकि एक बार मॉडल प्रोडक्शन में चला गया, you have to constantly monitor कि वो मॉडल कैसा परफॉर्म कर रहा है. There's a good chance that the model will become outdated क्योंकि the field will move. कस्टमर का पर्सपेक्टिव चेंज हो जाएगा, कुछ भी हो सकता है. तो यू हैव टू अगेन गो बैक टू दैट सेम प्रोसेस जहाँ पे यू डू एक्सपेरिमेंट अगेन, फेल अगेन, मूव थिंग्स टू प्रोडक्शन. दैट्स व्हाट आवर जॉब लुक्स लाइक मोस्टली. तो वन अदर पार्ट अबाउट आवर जॉब इज राइटिंग पेपर्स, एंड दैट इज इंपॉर्टेंट क्योंकि यू वांट टू पुट आउट रिसर्च. दैट्स हाउ द रिसर्च कम्युनिटी वर्क्स. Okay, so whatever you do, you write a paper about it, you publish in top tier conferences, and that is how you go about.
Okay. So what are the biggest misconceptions that students have or people in general who are outside of this ML world about your job?
See, one misconception is कि बहुत मुश्किल है इस job में enter करना, which is not. I walked you through the process. It's simple. Now you have to study for it, you have to prepare for it. That is definitely there. You have to have relevant experiences for it. But if you have all of that, then you will get into it. क्योंकि ऐसा नहीं है कि BTechs है ही नहीं इस role में. There are a lot of BTechs, and all of us are doing well. So that is there. Another thing is it's not very interesting always, because you have to keep on doing the same experiment again and again, see what works, what doesn't work, and sometimes your patience will run out. But yeah, that's part of the job. Ultimately, जब experiment successful होता है, that feeling is very good. So yeah, I mean that's it.
Okay, so let's address what everybody is thinking. Like these roles, they require heavy math. You were constantly trying to improve new models, and this is probably like cutting edge tech in today's world. So, and like compared to that, as a software developer, we are probably building the pipelines to help support this process or developing features in general. So how does the salary differ from big tech companies, FANG companies? So what is that difference? Does that difference show up in the bank account?
I mean, I would say it does pay well. Okay. So in Amazon, an entry-level applied scientist one earns as much as an SD 2.
Okay.
So that difference is definitely good. And
yeah, I mean, so iski, if you can just give us a range, probably kitna salary range rehti hai, even as an entry level or maybe somebody who's like whatever. What is the salary range for an entry-level applied scientist? What is that?
It ranges somewhere between 40 to 60. Your first year CTC.
Okay.
Yep. And your base component would be around 60 to 70% of that.
Okay.
So it's a good amount in your hand.
Okay, so there is a lot of noise in the market right now about how AI is going to automate a lot of the stuff that programmers do, software developers do, and SDs are really feeling the heat, right? There is a lot of uncertainty in the market right now. So, like from your point of view, I want to know that like obviously you experimented web development in college. You were mentioning, you did try kara hai sab kuch. But like was like future proofing one of the things that you were looking at before pursuing this as a role, or like was it just pure passion for this thing? And also I'd like to know ki, like what is your take on the future of software development?
सी जब मैं इस फील्ड में आया था इन कॉलेज तब चैट जीपीटी जैसा कुछ भी नहीं था, तो ऐसा कोई थ्रेट भी नहीं था. थ्रेट आया चैट जीपीटी के बाद. एज फार एज दैट थ्रेट इज कंसर्न, आई थिंक जो टास्क ऑटोमेट हो सकते हैं दोज विल गेट ऑटोमेटेड एट द एंड ऑफ द डे. ऑल ऑफ अस यूज कोडिंग असिस्टेंट्स. I think all of us now heavily rely on coding assistants as a matter of fact. But none of us can say कि हमारा काम कम हो गया. We don't say that. It's just that our work has changed. Maybe you now focus more on the designing part of your job. Maybe you focus more on testing, deploying and all of that stuff. So I think that field will evolve. But as far as that threat is concerned, I don't think that AI can still replace software development even in the near future. I think that will always be there. It's just that the field will evolve.
Yeah, I think I agree. That is something that I've seen personally in my like role as well. That earlier, obviously, like you mentioned, हमारे time पे ChatGPT and all was, I भी था तो third year, fourth year तक he was like at a sophisticated place where he was actually solving some stuff. उससे पहले तो कुछ भी नहीं था. But yeah, like that's what I've seen कि if we were coding a lot earlier, which we are not right now. Like you mentioned, the dependence on these assistants are too much now. In fact, that is quite depressing as well to think about it. Like it's kind of making us dumber in a way, like in a certain areas, right? Because like there's things that I would probably not even know about one language, but I'll have a full project ready on that language just because I'll tell them to do it. So but yeah, but it's fine. So that's what I'm thinking, that people are now moving on to different things. The role has changed. Like one of the biggest like drives that even within Google is to how we can just make these data processing pipelines faster and faster for these Gemini models and all that. So yeah, so if some things are popping down, some things are coming up as well. Yeah. So okay, so is the applied scientist role actually safer? Do you think that down the line, 5 years down the line, AI will even start, the tweaking the models, deploying them, all of the parts of your job? So do you think that in the near future it will put you out of a job as well, or yeah, what is your take on that?
Yeah, we are not safe. Just to put it out there. Abhi se hi AI has started automating some parts of our job, but we are happier for it. I mean, we are building that AI to automate those parts of our job. So in that way, you can say that we are safer. But ठीक है, I'm working for Amazon, so let's leave it at that.
So how does it feel to build something that is going to replace you? I mean, you are at the forefront of that.
It's cool, yeah. I mean, it is scary. It is scary for us also. I mean, we have these discussions constantly. Because within Amazon itself, there are so many new products coming up internally. जो कि हमारा काम जो हम कर रहे हैं, it's automating all of that. So it's like multiple teams are competing with one another to do something or the else. But we do find new problems. We do find new ways to solve them. And that's how our field will also evolve eventually.
It's a constant hustle, as you mentioned, to try and upskill and whatever. So are you also thinking about trying to do a master's now, maybe, or a PhD, or how does that like look like for you? How does the graph look like? What's the next step for you?
See, I might go on to do a PhD.
Okay.
If that is relevant to my career. Right now, I'm getting a good industry exposure, and I think I'll stick to that for now.
Okay.
But moving forward, अगर मेरे को लगेगा कि I'm getting too much outdated, so I'll go for a higher degree. That's what I have in plan as of now.
Okay, so let's come to the fun part of your job, the perks of traveling, presenting papers, and all that. So like, have you been exposed to that? Have you gotten any opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a very fun part of our job कि तुम research paper publish करो. First of all, publishing a research paper in itself is very difficult. क्योंकि तुम्हें अपने काम के side by side on top of that एक paper लिखना है, which is very, I mean, it's a very long iterative process. उसके बाद वो publish हो रहे तो you get recognized for that additionally. So you get to travel for conferences wherever that conference is happening, and it's usually out of India. I mean, I don't think a conference has happened in India in a long time. So I recently traveled to China because I published a paper in the MNLP conference. So conferences में usually you network around, you discuss with other people जिन्होंने paper publish किया कि तुमने क्या research करी है. You get to ask around questions, you get to see what other people are doing, and it's a very good environment of collaboration, discussions. It's a very good thing. It's a 3-day long conference plus 2 days of workshops. तुम्हें जो अटेंड करना है, तुम जिस टॉपिक में इंटरेस्टेड हो, तुम उस चीज़ को अटेंड करो. इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी कि तुम आप बैठे हो. यू रोम अराउंड, यू chat up with people. And conferences are usually fun also, so they have social dinners जहाँ पे सिर्फ खाना पीना होता है, मस्ती होती है, that's it. And apart from that, of course, तुम travel करो, तुम जहाँ जा रहे हो वहाँ पे तुम घूमो फिरो. So it's a good part of our job.
Yeah, and of course, like while you're working at Amazon, these papers, like, are these like your personal passion projects which you do, and then you let Amazon know that okay, I've come up with this, and then that goes through the whole approval process and all that, and I'm guessing then Amazon also sponsors your trip to these. Like, how does that whole process? And is it even like encouraged with by Amazon to do this while you're working in them, because it might reveal some internal novel things that you're using, right? Yeah. So
See, publishing papers is a very team specific thing as far as I have realized. But Amazon will always encourage you to publish.
okay.
क्योंकि हम जो भी पेपर लिख रहे हैं, it's written on behalf of Amazon.
Okay.
तो as far as the IP thing is concerned, जो भी पेपर हम लिखते हैं, it has to go through a very stringent, strict approval process. जहाँ पे वो Amazon पहले पूरा पेपर पढ़ेगा, it will go through everything, it will do a legal review of it, just to make sure कि कोई IP expose नहीं हो रहा. So for me, in my team, there's a very good research culture. So everybody is motivated, encouraged to publish papers, to write papers. And yeah, I mean, we do tend to write. I mean, as a team, we do publish around 8 to 10 papers a year, which is very good. We are not a very big team. We are a team of only 10 to 15 applied scientists. So yeah, I mean, it's a team dependent thing, but Amazon will encourage you. And apart from that, Amazon will also sponsor your travel. Again, because you are sort of representing Amazon in those conferences. And Amazon is usually a sponsor for those conferences as well. It's a gold sponsor, diamond sponsor, and all of that. So yeah, it does foster a good research culture. But yeah, it's a team dependent thing also at the end of the day.
Okay, so very important question now, that as somebody who's just in their first year or second year doing a bachelor's, whether it be computer science or not, what should they be doing right now to target your role?
See, my advice would be go get some courses, read up articles, books, whatever you can. There are a lot of good playlists out there as well. DeepMind का हो गया, OpenAI का हो गया. Explore stuff and get your hands dirty. थोड़ी internships करो, थोड़े projects बनाओ. Get into that research field and see if you actually like it. That is very important. For example, I joined a lab first. I did some research there, and that is where I took things forward because मेरे को interest आ रहा था तो मैं करता रहा. That was my motivation. If your motivation is money, explore some other fields. I mean, there are other fields which will pay you as well, maybe even more. So if that is a thing that guides you, that motivates you, then maybe research is not the thing for you. But agar research is the thing for you. But if research is the thing for you, research is about experimenting, failing again and again, and maybe ek baar tum successful ho gaye. That's what research is. So if you are into that kind of a thing, then yeah, go for it.
I think to summarize what you said, what I got out of it was probably like money. You'll make money here as well. In fact, like you mentioned, you make very good money. But point is that if you don't like research, it'll get very boring for you, right?
It will get boring. It will get frustrating.
Okay.
And I'm not kidding. It does get frustrating even for someone who likes research.
Okay. Yeah. So that makes sense. I mean, so then that's the one thing that you need to have. You need to have a passion for research in general. So yeah, the money will come either you're in SD or in that role. But yeah, I need to know as a first year, second year, like find out research professors in your college. I don't know, just bug them, get some projects with them. Because as somebody who has 0 projects in their resume, I don't think somebody will just even hire you for an internship with like 0 experience. Maybe they will, but it's very, very hard. Probably. Yeah. So yeah. Like try to find out people near you who are doing, maybe collaborate on some projects. So yeah, that will probably help. Okay, so quick rapid fire questions for you. First one, NLP or computer vision?
NLP.
One math topic that you shouldn't skip?
Probability.
GPT, Claude or Gemini?
Claude.
Fourth question, PyTorch or TensorFlow?
PyTorch.
Okay, so that was it. That was more or less what you wanted to cover for this video. Thanks Aryan for joining. So if you're someone who's just in their college and trying to figure out different fields, whether it be software development or an applied scientist, I hope this video will be helpful for you because Aryan has shared his in-depth journey of what he did to get where he is today. So yeah, hopefully that helped. If you've been here this long, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with people who you feel it relevant as well. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Chal. Woo.